Okay, everybody. So check this out. Listen, we finna be going against Vic Dicara once again. Let me show you how you catch people up, right? So now, what I want you all to understand is this. So now, a dispute or a debate. We've been having this like ongoing mini debate where I'm clearly winning. He don't think I am. I'm clearly winning. And I want you to all understand this. Vic's whole standpoint is that the old ancient Vedic astrological texts say that we're not supposed to use the star constellations for our actual birth chart in Vedic astrology. However, he finna contradict himself, and I'm finna show you how he contradicts himself, right? So now, first, we're gonna look at this. Our whole conversation started with me telling him, hey, listen, this is him replying to one of my comments, whatever. He was saying, hey, the serious Dunstan says the Zodiac are on the equinoxes of the Zodiac wheel, right? So check this out. And then he sent me his little link or whatever. And I said, yes, it actually does, right? However, the whole chapter 3 of the Sirius Sedentis, Indian astronomical text, right? So it's like laying the framework for what we have to make birth charts now, right? It goes over like how to calculate the ascendant, telling you about the planetary revolutions. It includes the zodiac signs, it includes the star nakshatras or whatever. But in a different portion, it says that they are two different things. Now, check this out. I agree with Vic 100%. The nakshatras are not the zodiacs. He is not. He is 100% absolutely correct in there, right? I'm gonna give you a prime example. Aslation nakshatra is not in Cancer, although it's associated with the framework of how the ancient sages merged the nakshatras and the actual star zodiacs fully together, right? But Aslation nakshatra is in a constellation called Hydra, but it is along the ecliptic, right? So this is what they did. They took the star zodiacs, and then they took the lunar mansions or whatever, and they merged them together. That's what they did, right? Vic is saying that's completely incorrect. We should have never done it like that. Yada yada yada. He's saying all that, whatever, right? So check this out. I want you all to catch how I just flipped them up, right? So we had this conversation before that we even before before he replied to my post on this video again a couple days ago. I just checked my YouTube and found it. I'm like, okay, he should never did that because now I'm finna expose how he's like lying, right? So now remember Victor Carver right here. Remember Victor Carver right here. Him. He has Rahu in the second house, right? And he has it in Aquarius. And we all know Aquarius is a super duper rebellious sign. They always want to go against something. They always want to go against tradition, which is why he has a whole video segment about the argument against tradition, right? Because the second house rules speech, but he has Rahu there. Rahu is rebellious, and it's about breaking conventional or traditional norms. So he's literally following his birth chart, right? So what you got to understand is this is the second house also rules speech, right? It rules speech. So, and it also rules finance, right? What you got to understand is this. Um, Rahu is the planet of deception. Please understand that, right? And Aquarius is a zodiac sign that represents like collectivism, right? You see what I'm saying? Everybody coming together, right? So you got to remember, he's able to easily deceive the masses, even if he's not purposely trying to do it, because in his mind, his moon is in Taurus in the fifth house. Fifth house is a house of like ancient texts, and it's a house of like intelligence and like learning or whatever, education. So his moon is in the earth sign. It's in a fixed Taurus sign, right? And Taurus is very stubborn, very logical, practical. It got to be this, it got to be that. That's why these signs aren't spiritual signs, or they aren't, or it's not a moksha sign, right? The earth signs, right? Now, all of them can have a spiritual element to them, right? Because he can make a video saying, no, what do you mean it's not spiritual? You have to understand that the essence of whatever is spiritual, all that crazy stuff, y'all know what I mean. The thing about it is they are artha signs, they are not moksha signs or dharma signs, right? They are about wealth creation and sustenance, and that's the truth, right? And I forgot the additional things that go into it or whatever, but he does have a deceiving placement. I'm just keeping it honest, right? Listen. I'm just keeping it honest. So now check this out. This is what I want y'all to understand. You finna watch him slip up because look at this right here. And this one, I told him, I mentioned about chapter 3. I just found this video I'm finna show y'all today. And I'm like, okay, he tried to kind of like lie or well being deceiving in his response to me, and I just went on his video where he confirmed what I was actually saying, but then he tried to downplay it, right? So check this out. I said, yes, it actually does say that. However, the whole chapter 3 Sirius Sedunta literally says to calculate the ascendant or lagna from the ecliptic and meridian point and use the essential equivalent of what sign rising over the horizon. And I also list the zodiac table's commentary. I went back and checked. It is somebody else's commentary, right? It's based on off the Sidereal Zodiac, right? But check this out. And then I had said the same book or series done to no. I was basically explaining to him right here in this text was that this text is really telling you how to calculate the logna which we use for birth charts. What else do we use the logna for? We use the logna for you got how many different types of lognas? And he can say, listen, anytime we're using the logna, we're referring it to a birth chart of some sort, whether it could be mundane astrology, it could be natal horoscopic astrology, it could be any form of Vedic astrology. The thing about it is we start with a logna and we read whatever sign and nakshatra is there together, and we read the houses going, you know what I'm saying, going in order, right? That's what the whole premise of a lagna is. You got the Ruda lagna, Karakamsa lagna, Makarka lagna, Chandra lagna. It's all reference to birth charts. That's what it all is, right? So check it out. And I told him, I said, the same book of Sirius Siddhanta literally says that it matches up with Brihat Samhita or Shastra and Jataka, which I watched all of your videos. So I was telling them that, listen, you saying it's not no Sidereal Zodiac, but in the ancient text, it is a Sidereal Zodiac, at least in the way that they frame them. Now, the thing about it is, I agree with them that they are separate things because constellation-wise, they are, right? And the zodiac signs, star constellation base are unequal, right? But the thing about it is, they're not going off of that. They're going off of trigonometry framework. That's what it all is, right? It's mathematical slices. Because like Virgo was a longer constellation, right? Virgo was a way longer constellation, and then other constellations. So the birth chart itself is a 360-degree wheel, right? Meaning that if some constellations are longer and shorter, how are we getting the 360-degree wheel calculation? We're not truly understand that, but it's the way that they're calculating it. It's the way that they're dividing it. That's how. Of course, they're not using the whole exact length of it. that I mean, I've always known that, right? Let's check this out. So let's look at the conversation, right? Before I want y'all to literally see where he tried to like prove me wrong. He said there is no wordplay. He said the zodiac is based on the equinox. Whatever wordplay is coming into this will be from people trying to evade the simple directness of the statement. Regarding chapter 3, the entire chapter explains how to use a sundial's equinoctial shadow to figure out the current solar position and from that the current ascendant. If this does not end your confusion about sidereal calculations, then what will? Please read the beginning of the chapter. It explains how to build whatever current relative to the equinox. And around the 10th text, right, 12 in particular, it begins to explain the equinoctial precession, right, and the calculations that will be involved to find the locations of the nakshatras. Remember, most of the Siddhanta is concerned with positions relative to nakshatras. The rest of the chapter continues explaining the very complicated math needed to convert the current sundial deviation from the sundial's equinoctial shadow, right? So he said, which can then be used to find out the current Rasi or nakshatra. Now, remember I did a video where he said the Rashi, on his list, it said it's a zodiac sign, but then he said he don't want to use that terminology. He want to just say it's a heap or it's a geometrical shape, right? And I'm trying to tell him that that's how they're dividing the zodiac from a geometrical component. He says, but I want you all to hear what he's about to say, right? I want you all to hear what he's about to say. Let me scroll back. It's gone right there. So now.
Okay, but chapter 3 of Sri Siddhanta describes that inherently tropical calculations, such as the ascendant, must be converted to sidereal by deducting the ayanamsha. And this shows that the final chart being produced from these calculations uses ayanamsha. In other words, the Sri Siddhanta calculations produce sidereal charts.
So again, here we're in chapter 3. We're not really talking about astrological birth charts. We're talking about calculations.
Notice that's the first point. He said we're not talking about astrological birth charts. I want y'all to understand this. He said we're not talking about astrological birth charts in chapter 3, but if you go to chapter 14, they're not talking about astrological birth charts neither. They're talking about like ritualistic and calendric events and festivals and stuff. So you see how he's trying to say, yeah, that part ain't talking about charts, but my part is talking about charts. It's very obvious. Now let's keep going.
Of universal time spans. Okay, chapter 3 describes that some calculations are inherently and entirely tropical. So then in text 9 through 11 of chapter 3, it explains that if you want to make these calculations relevant to Revati Yogatara and the sidereal sphere, then you're going to have to understand the concept of precession of equinoxes. So the precession of equinoxes concept introduced here in the 9th, 10th, and 11th text of chapter 3. So that whole concept of precession and ayanamsha is introduced in chapter 3 of Surya Siddhanta for the sake of translating inherently tropical coordinates to sidereal coordinates, but not for the sake of creating a birth chart, for the sake of...
Do y'all see that? You see how he's it? So he just admitted that chapter 3 of Surya Siddhanta does indeed tell you about calculating tropical coordinates to the sidereal coordinates, right? And this, go read chapter 3. It's literally talking about a log. He said, why is he not mentioning what the context was specifically? It's specifically talking about how to calculate the logna. What else do we use logna for? It's for birth charts. I'm just saying, what else do we use logna for? When the last time you seen logna be used and it wasn't in reference to some type of chart, some type of format to where we could come on now. Come on now. It's very obvious, right? So he just admitted his own self, right? But what he's trying to say is that it's talking about the nakshatra, but it's not talking about the sidereal zodiac, right? That's what he's saying.
The context under discussion, which is understanding the current historical place in the cosmological timeline. Now
you see how he's saying, well, it's not in the context of birth charts, it's in the context of the time frame. But what chapter 14? When did it say birth charts for chapter 14? It never said that. I encourage everybody to go read it. Please go read it.
Say, no, that's not it at all. The 3rd chapter of Surya Siddhanta introduces ayanamsha so that we can create sidereal birth charts with 12-fold zodiac. But A, you have to ignore the fact that that's not the context of chapter 3. B, you have to ignore the fact that the zodiac hasn't even been introduced yet in chapter 3 of Surya Siddhanta. And C, you have to ignore the fact that Surya Siddhanta just doesn't define a sidereal zodiac. And
let me finish this. But yes, do y'all see what he's saying, y'all? So listen. He's hold on. Let me rewind it back. Let me rewind it back.
3. B, you have to ignore the fact that the zodiac hasn't even been introduced yet. The context under discussion, which is understanding the current historical place in the cosmological timeline. Now you may say, no, that's not it at all. The 3rd chapter of Surya Siddhanta introduces ayanamsha so that we can create sidereal birth charts with 12-fold zodiac. But A, you have to ignore the fact that that's not the context of chapter 3. B, you have to ignore the fact that the zodiac hasn't even been introduced yet in chapter 3 of Surya Siddhanta. And C, you have...
He said we ignoring the context. It's literally made for a 12 divisional fold for a chart. It is, right? So what he's saying is that since the zodiac was mentioned so later and it's on the equinox and solstice, that they couldn't possibly be talking about that. But then you come over here to all of the books that I have, right? Matter of fact, we can just get off of his little video now. Come over here and read my stuff. Listen, the Brahma Sputa, and these are by like different right? Different authors, right? Brahma Sputa, right? Chapter 10 discusses the fusion of sidereal zodiac and nakshatras, right? Here you go. Here go the link to it, right? And matter of fact, let's see another one, right? From Vahamira, right? The Brihat Samhita, right? And what it's not an intrinsic, it's like a temporary thing. This is the thing that he's refusing to understand. These Indian people know way. Well, these ancient Indian people know way more than he ever did or probably ever will. I'm just keeping it at 100% honest, right? And the formation in the way that they have all of these texts, right? I want you all to fully understand that. They merge them with it, right? So listen, why do I say that? Because he said this recently, right? I said, because I exposed what he said, right? And then he said, I guess you are trying to find a loophole in the phrase for natal horoscope, right? But that's what he's saying. He said, I'm trying to find a loophole, but he found a loophole. He said, Master, it's not for birth charts. I'm like, but what else do we use login for? But since I said, hey, you need to show us where it says that we use the tropical zodiac for lognas, right? He couldn't find it. He is nowhere in any text, right? That's the missing link. If you are going to be telling people, hey, we're supposed to use this because this over here says this. I'm like, okay, but does it say to use that for the Astrological calculations? Does it say that? Because all the astrological texts that we're actually seeing from the Brahmasputa, the Brihat Samhita, the Jataka Parajita, the Jataka Parajita, I think I'm saying it correctly, they all fuse them together. Like I said, I agree with him that they aren't 100% the same exact thing, but the framework is what it does weld them and mold them together. And that is true, right? The BPA just says, and we're going to go over some more in a minute. I guess you are trying to find a loophole in the phrase for a natal horoscope. When you say no Vedic text did it say to use the tropical zodiac for a natal horoscope. The fact, however, is that no Vedic text ever describes a sidereal zodiac in the first place, much less for a natal horoscope. And additionally, all the texts that define the zodiac define it tropically, in many cases, the context of our astrological interpretation. So just pay attention to what he said, though no text describes a sidereal zodiac, right? All these texts describe the zodiac being a sidereal. I literally have them, and I also provided you all the links and with the actual pages to go on. Real talk, right? Like real talk. That's why I say I'm like, man, come on, right? Man, like, come on. And I really want everybody to go on here. I want you all to go look. Come on here and read this for your actual self. Cause I already did a video going over this, right? Right here. Go down to page of 14 of Pontus Duntica is going with the sidereal calculations again, which what? It's going with the sidereal calculations again, which what he even stated from chapter 3 in Sirius Sedanta says you make the tropical and convert them into sidereal. That's what he's saying. He said it out of his own mouth. I'm saying it out of my own mouth, but he's trying to go against all of these things. But I mean, of course, you got to remember the second house rule speech, and he has rebellious sign and a rebellious planet together. Of course, he's not. Of course, he's going to find a loophole in anything. Every Aquarius that I know always try to go around some shit and say, "Well, listen, I see it from this angle," and they try to do a lot of mathematical division and science involved in it to really use all that to kind of really get you to like really think that they know exactly what they're talking about. I want you all to understand this. From the oldest serious Dunton method, the Ayanamsa and model, and the Jagannatha horror, I am an Aquarius moon. Aquarius moon, 29 degrees, Purvabhadra pop, right? But in the Drix Dunton, I'm a 1 degree Pisces moon, right? The more updated calculations, right? And then he went on in his video too, he was saying something about horror Rottenham was it's horror Rottenham was talking about going against the tropical nakshatras. Then he backtracked and said, "Well, but even if it was talking about the zodiac, whatever, he tries like wordplay. That I want you. That's the Rahu deceptive speech that he has in the second house. I'm just keeping it a buck, right? And so think about it. I want you all to understand this right here." In Sloka 7 of the Jataka Parajita, right? What it says, the zodiac signs in the heaven consist of 9 quarters, potters and stars starting from Ashwini. Matter of fact, let's see if we can open this up. Because after we get this open, okay, it's going, it's after we get this open, I'm gonna take out to this quick little video to show you the difference between the tropics and all that. Oh yeah, we finna bust them. Yeah, we not finna let them slide like that. We're not finna let him slide like this. Sloka 7. Let's go. Let's see if we can find Sloka 7. Let's see. Let's see if we can find Sloka 7. Okay. Let's see if we can find Sloka 7. So right here in Sloka 7, right? In the Jataka Parajata. So what it said, let's go back down. Let's go back down. It's naming all the zodiacs the fifth. So right here, so if you want to start from this right here, it say the first quarter of the Sloka 7, right? The first sign astrologer style is Meshi. It's just talking about all the zodiac signs from the Indian standpoint, and they're different names, right? Kriya. So listen, Kriya, these are all different names for Aries, right? So like Mesha, you can call it Oz, you can call it Viswa, you can call it Kriya, you can call it Tambara or Adia, right? Then the second is like what Taurus, right? And then you go on and go on, right? Then when you get down right here, right? We're not going by the see. This is commentary. He don't like the commentary. So we just gonna stick to the slokas, right? And it said so this is the extended version of Sloka 7, right? So quarters from 2 to 4. So now Kriya, which we all know is Aries, right? and other zodiacal signs in the heavens consist of 9 quarters of stars, reckoning from Dicara, or another name from what? Ashwini, right? So Kriya is a name for Aries, and Dara is another name for Ashwini, right? This is the merging them together, right? And are termed whatever, right? So you see how, what are the 9 quarters, right? Those are the nakshatra padas, right? Every zodiac sign has 9 padas, right? You see what I'm saying? 9 different types of Aries, 9 different types of Taurus, and 9 different types of all of them, right? That's that's just the truth, right? That's just the truth. As a matter of fact, oh look, matter of fact, where is my calculator at? My phone be acting slow. Hold up, y'all. 'Cause I'm trying to see something. Let's see. What is 9 times 12? It's 108, right? The Vedic sacred number. I'm just saying, y'all, you got to remember, see, he has a Taurus moon. He's looking at this completely textbook, black and white. He just got all earth sign shit. That's what the problem is. Earth sign ascendant, earth sign moon. And all the planets in the chart are being filtered through that ascendant. I always understand that, right? You got to remember, you may be a Capricorn ascendant, you may be a Pisces ascendant, and you may have this moon, that moon. That moon is acting through the lens of whatever that ascendant is. I always understand that, right? So that ascendant is going to be flavored with whatever that moon is, right? So he just got like stickler, stagnant energy, right? But as you can see, right, it's literally saying all the heavenly body, and this is the Sanskrit language he loved to talk about. So I want everybody to really understand it, right? But now let's address some bigger issues, right? Let's address some bigger issues, right? So now, what this all really means, right? So now, the chapter 3 of Sirius Siddhanta emphasizes that time should be calculated from a galactic celestial perspective, right? And not just earthly seasons, right? So now, it shows the ancient understanding that time is cyclical and that we must adjust charts according to our positions in the larger cosmic scale, right? Cycle, right? So now, is also one of the earliest known references to axial precession, right? The slow wobble that shift the equinoxes over times, right? So now, why this matters, right? So now, tropical versus sidereal conflict, yada yada. I'm pretty sure we already went over this, right? But now, let's talk about the tropics, because chapter 14 said the zodiac rests on the hub of the solstice and equinox, right? So now, the tropics are Earth geography, right? So what I want you all to truly understand is, right? So now, you got the tropics. So the Tropic of Cancer, where the sun is directly overhead of the Earth, supposedly, right? Even though it said in Sirius Siddhanta that it all starts from the vernal equinox, which is a very earthly seasonal position. But then you got to see which equinox, right? Which vernal equinox, which springtime, from which location, right? Because it said it's talking about the sun going up over the earth and all this whatever. I'm like, okay, but which equinox? You have different seasons everywhere, right? And we can't rule out that it's actually talking about springtime. It actually is talking about springtime in and of itself. That's why all of these cardinal signs get their modality. Yeah, modality from. I believe that. I believe I'm saying the correct thing. Modality, right? So the thing about this, you got the Earth, right? And I got a video for everybody, right? Matter of fact, let's go ahead and pull that up, right? We're finna pull this video up. I want everybody to see this, right? I want everybody to see this. Because, yeah, I'm like, he thought he was dealing with a small fry. See, I pay attention to everything a person says. And my Mars is in Miragashira, and it aspects my ascendant. And I'm a Mula ascendant. I'm going to hunt down my enemy to the root. I'm going to get them in every single angle that I could possibly get them, right? Because that's how you effectively destroy them. I want everybody to understand that. Make sure y'all take notes. Okay. So, what I want you all to understand, y'all, listen. These are the tropics, right? These are the tropics, right? You got Cancer and you got Capricorn, right? These are stationary longitude and latitudinal points, right? And tropical astrology is saying that the zodiac sign is based on the sun entering Capricorn at a certain time, and then falling to over here to the west and going down to the south, then coming back up on the east. That's what it's saying, right? But check this out. In chapter 14, Sirius Siddhanta, it says that this right here begins from the tropical zodiac, begins from the vernal equinox, right? Look, hold up, let me see. Look, this is shifting, this is moving, right? But we know that the tropics are stationary points on Earth, right? So check this out. If Aries the vernal equinox is shifting and shifting and shifting and shit. I want y'all all to really look at that. It's shifting and shifting. And this what it is, right? It is always shifting, but the tropics remain the same. Please understand that the tropics remain the same, right? But check this out. Listen, if Aries is shifting, right, then guess what? Look at what's starting. So this is the vernal equinox, right? It said in chapter 14, it starts from there. This is shifting constantly. So check this out. This should be shifting too. We should be looking at the tropics differently, right? We should be looking at the tropics differently, right? I'm just saying. You get so now the vernal equinox in Cancer. So right, so Aries should be what? Where the Tropic of Cancer is in. The vernal equinox in Libra. So guess what? Cancer should be where the I mean no. So the vernal equinox is supposed to begin in Aries, right? I want you all to really, really understand what I'm saying, because I understand what I'm saying, but I'm trying to make sure that y'all really just truly get it. Put it like this: the vernal equinox, right? See how Aries is up over here? So now listen. If it no, so like look, Pisces right here is where Aries is supposed to be at, right? But check this out. Gemini is right there where the Tropic of Cancer is, right? And look, Sagittarius right there where the Tropic of Capricorn is, right? So which one like is hella confusing, right? This, so put it like this. This is the constellation zodiac, right? Which does exist literally physically in the sky. There's no way he can deny that. There's no way he can deny that, right? And they are on the sun's path, right? Trajectory of the ecliptic, right? I want everybody to understand that, right? Now, however, these are the tropical zodiac, which chapter 14 says starts from the vernal equinox, right? And it's shifting, right? But the thing about it is the equinox keeps shifting. Which season for what location are we talking about? I just want to know that, right? For real. So what you got to understand is that listen, if we're gonna keep the tropics at the same point, but the equinox is changed, that's just weird. So you got to remember the whole thing is based on Aries being east, Libra being west, and Cancer being the north, and Capricorn being the south, right? But if Aries is changing, let's look at it from a birth chart ascendant. If Aries is changing, if Aries changed if Aries changed to Pisces, that means in this position right here, listen, that means in this position right here, now look, in this position right here, it's supposed to be Sagittarius. So do we ignore the tropics, or do we? You see what you see? It's too much confusion because the tropics are stationary points. You can look on a map and see that. So what are we actually using, right? All I'm saying is that you said the book says it starts from the vernal equinox, but it's not Aries anymore, right? And it said it reckons from Aries, right? But why doesn't it always start there forever? And instead, it's going to keep doing this. Change it from zodiac, change it from zodiac, change it from zodiac, right? So you all see the constellation zodiac on the outside. Then you see the tropical. So this is Earth. This is from our geocentric point of view, right? We're looking at how the seasons revolve around the Earth. Then we got the actual stars that are stationed there. Please understand that, right? I just really want everybody to understand that. Please understand that. But I just don't get what he trying to say and talk about. You know what I'm saying? So listen, now we've had enough of that. Let's go down, right? Why this is a problem for literates, right? So now the Sirius, Dante, and Vedic texts explicitly say that the zodiac begins with Aries at the vernal equinox. But today, the sun's actually in Pisces, not Aries at the vernal equinox, right? So 0-degree tropical Aries is not a 0-degree Aries anymore. Sidereal, right? So now, if you say Aries equal equinox, then you're using tropical logic. If you say Aries star cluster, you're using sidereal logic. You can't have both, or you can, depending on however you want to look at it, right? But they meant the tropics. So if someone says that they were referring to the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, not constellations, that's false, right? So now, Sirius Dante anchors Aries to the vernal equinox, a celestial event, right? That's what it is, right? Not a specific location on Earth, right? If we want to look at it from that aspect. So the equinoxes do not equal tropics, right? We see that they are together, but they are different, right? That's why they have different names, right? So now, the equinoxes occur when the sun crosses the celestial equator, right? Not when it hits the geographic latitude, right? So now, the text references nakshatras instead of positions, showing the ancients track the sky, not just the seasons. So if Aries starts the equinox, but the sun is now in Pisces the equinox, then either the system is outdated and not truly sidereal, or it was originally a tropical zodiac that got out of sync due to what? The precession of the equinoxes, right? So now, tropics equal Earth tilt and solstices, equinoxes equal day and night balances, and zodiac recess and precession, the slow drift that broke the original alignment, right? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like what did chapter 14 actually mean, right? So now the zodiac rests on the solstice and the equinox. He loved to say that shit. Starting Aries is the vernal equinox, but that means Aries is supposed to always begin the vernal equinox. Does it not? It text explicitly states there, right? But Aries ain't there though. Cancer, summer solstice, Libra, autumn equinox, Capricorn, winter solstice. This is a tropical framework, right? Tying the seasonal points, but it's not stars, right? So the Tropic of Cancer, we already went over that or whatever. So the precession, right? Aries did used to begin at the equinox, right, when they were aligned, but now it's not. It's in Pisces, right? So if Aquarius, right, equals equinox, then Aquarius has become Pisces. I'm just saying, right? And Sirius Dunter gave no instructions on how to adjust this over time. That's a flaw or at least a major omission. Let's keep it 100, right? So that's what I really want you all to really see, just really all just truly understand, right? So now, if you all want any more videos like this for me debunking astrology, anything, just put it in the comment section. Let me know. But other than that, I want y'all to have a good rest of y'all day. Y'all go on here, right here, to go see all the places that actually, all the books that he said right here. Where he said right here. Where he said right here. That all what he say, there is in fact, however, no Vedic text that ever describes the sidereal zodiac sign in the first place, right? Much less for a natal horoscope. And literally all the text of what he's talking about is what I'm like, but they do. He just mad because they welded them together. But I mean, the thing about it is you can't go back in time and figure out. I mean, one thing I do believe is a lot of stuff get changed over time. A lot of text be manipulated. So why couldn't this be one though? But I'm just saying it's pretty overwhelming evidence that how the Vedic people actually calculated it from their system. So you got them saying these two contradicting things inside of Sirius Sedanta. But then when it comes to their birth chart layers, for what they're using for all of their Vedic texts, which he said there are none, is a sidereal zodiac sign with the sidereal nakshatras. And y'all listen, so you can either roll with him, the Rahu in second house to speak deception, Aquarius that's rebellious against anything traditional and love to do things unorthodox and go against tradition, or you can just go by the traditional text. I'm just saying, right? I got the software horror, all that, right? Think about it is another thing. Vic, if you watch this or any one of you lackeys, you can't beat me in the birth chart reading competition. You said that it proves ineffective, right? You want to know why you said it proves ineffective? It's because anybody can say different types of things that mean different type of things. But stuff is not that different though, right? Because the ascendant Lord should be the framework that we're looking at everything, right? You are a Capricorn ascendant in both of them, right? So it's very convenient for you to use that shit like to your advantage, right? Your ascendant Lord more than likely just stays the complete same, right? With all your Rasis, right? So you are the perfect person to spearhead this whole movement, right? What it is really like that Ptolemy tetrabiblos ancestral blood is inside of you that's kind of like making you really want to like do that. And I understand, right? But that's just the prime, because if you read Ptolemy, they are saying exactly what he's saying, right? In the tetrabiblos, right? But yeah, and we know that the Greco-Roman culture invaded India too, and they kind of like mixed their stuff with their stuff. So it's a big amalgamation of different things, this and that or whatever. But like you also said in the horror, well, I think I already covered that. I ain't gonna even cover that. But other than that, y'all, listen, y'all have a good rest of y'all day. And if you want another interesting viewpoint, I was just over here just reading this, trying to understand what's going on here too. I'm gonna take some more look at this, and I might be making some videos of this as well too. But other than that, either debunking it or agreeing with it. But other than that, y'all go read everything for y'allself. And when he said, but listen, I just want to know, when he said that they describe no sidereal zodiac, Sloka 7 describes a sidereal zodiac. But other than that, y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Peace.